So all these questions are in fact ultimately personal preferences. As far as the blessing of the Prophet is concerned, I tend to agree with the very first group I mentioned. That sometimes when a Prophet looks at someone with love and affection and casts a look upon such a person, however small that be, his sight does not have a blessing like the ignorant people believe, but that sight becomes a prayer for him. He looks with love, and Allah also looks with love upon such a child. So in such instances, not just mere look at anybody, a look of love and approval, a look full of prayers, that could turn a mere infant into a child, into a companion. And in other cases, even grown-ups could be deprived of the classification of companionship. Because we know many of the adults who were known to be Muslims, who came into daily contact with Hazur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, were munafiqeen. We can't pinpoint them because the Holy Quran has not mentioned them in name, but Holy Quran has told us definitely that Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam recognized them from the signs appearing on their faces. He was so shrewd, so deeply intelligent, that he immediately understood the type of person he met. The Holy Quran bears witness that Hazrat Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was never deceived by munafiqeen. He fully understood them. Yet neither he revealed their identity, nor Allah wanted to disclose their identity, and they are still labeled as Sahaba. So it is possible that some of adult age, who apparently in form are companions, but in truth are not companions of Hazur Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, not those as mentioned in the Holy Quran anyway. So the truth lies in between the two extremes. And we do not stand in a position of debating these issues in particularization. In general, this should suffice that it is possible in principle for a child to become a companion in the sight of Allah, and it is also possible for an adult not to be counted among companions in the sight of Allah. Who is and who is not, the knowledge is with Allah. In detail, we have neither an authority nor enough evidence available with us to declare each one whether he is a companion or he is not. But in general principle, we know that in Ahmadiyya, for instance, the word Raziullah has been used about such children who died as infants in the time of Hazrat Masih Maud. Not infants, but young boys or girls at the time of Hazrat Masih Maud. For instance, Sahibzada Mirza Mubarak Ahmad Sahib, who died at the age of 4.5 years or so. And he is called a Raziullah. And similarly, my mother, who was a mere child at the time of Hazrat Masih Maud death, she had not reached maturity. She is also referred to as Raziullah Ta'ala Anha. Hazrat Muslim Maud also accepted this. So the tradition of Ahmadiyya is rather lenient in this regard. But in some other respects, the attitude of the Jamaat is rather strict. For instance, when a person is to be buried in a very special part of the graveyard, where only the companions of Hazrat Masih Maud are buried, the existing decision regarding that is that only those should be declared as Sahaba fit for the purpose of burial in that particular place, who are known to have seen Hazrat Masih Maud and heard him and remained in his presence at the time of maturity. And for that, the age of maturity set by the Jamaat Ahmadiyya Majlis Shura, is 12 years. So the second part of your question is the age of maturity. That is also a very variable factor. From country to country, from race to race, and even I have noticed from family to family, the age of maturity varies. Some people become mature at early age, some at a very late age, and also it is individual to individual, it also varies. For instance, some children are retarded and they reach the age of maturity much later in their life. So this is a question about which we should not bother. For generalizations, because each individual cannot be examined about his maturity, people form some rules, thumb rules, and the governments also form some thumb rules. For instance, here, a girl becomes mature if she reaches 18 years of age, and a boy becomes mature when he reaches 21st year of his age, or completes the 21st years of his age. So that varies from country to country. So that is for a convenience purpose. As far as Shariat goes, it does not follow the laws made by various countries or regulations of convenience. Islam goes by the realities. So as far as the Shariat is concerned, it would become applicable to an individual whenever he becomes mature, not before. And sometimes if he is mature and retarded, then it will not be applicable in full extent, only it will be partly applicable. These are the two questions which I remember. Which was the third one? Or was it not the third? I mean, was there not a third?
Maturity was the third one. And,
so I have missed the second one. I have missed the second one, have I?
Hazur has also explained the second one, because Hazur said some of the Sahabas of the promised Messiah were in a young age.
That's right, yes.
Hazur has explained all the things.
Thank you.
Jazakumullah.
Now I think there is no time for another question. So poor Salim, shall we be kind to him and give him a chance? If your question is of a nature that it can be answered in a short time, then I'll answer the question. Otherwise, we'll defer it till tomorrow. I mean, question can be asked, answer may be given tonight or tomorrow, right? Because you know, in Urdu and Punjabi particularly, they say, "Anu sawal aaya hoya hai." You know, which means that he can't withhold. It's bubbling from within.
So, I can ask tomorrow if you.
Yes, as you please. As you please.
So as you said.
Or I try to explain yourself in English. Because for the benefit of those who listen to the recordings,
yes, sir,
it's better if the questions are framed in English.
So, sir, it's in English.
Oh. Go ahead.
Sir, it's a verse of Holy Quran, Surah Fatah.
Surah Fatah?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Muhammadur Rasulullah wallazina ma'ahu ashidda'u alal kuffari ruhama'u bainahum tarahum ruk'an sujjadan يبتغون فضلا من الله ورضوانا سيماهم في وجوههم من أثر السجود ذلك مثلهم في التوراة ومثلهم في الإنجيل كزرع أخرج شطأه فآزره فاستغلظ فاستوى على سوقه يعجب الزراع ليغيظ بهم الكفار وعد الله الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. The translation is to it
No, first tell me the question.
So my question is this, that this verse does apply and holds good for the present situation of our time.
I mean, you want to give your opinion on that or ask a question?
I'm asking